valiant effort. Tonight, we're in high gear.
Tonight, Jay for Jazz.
Good evening. Tonight, a man drowns in Lake Ontario despite heroic efforts by the city's Marine unit. A paramedic on board a Marine patrol boat pumped the life back into this man who fell into Lake Ontario after a night out with friends. Unfortunately, he later died in hospital.
We had a crew that started dragging. About 15 minutes later, they did pull the fella out of the water. He was in about 25 feet of water. CPR was started on the boat. We had a paramedic on the vessel. He assisted with the CPR. We brought him back to the Marine unit. He was defibrillated right here, and before he left, he did have a pulse.
Bystanders waved down the Marine unit, who rushed to the rescue. Despite their quick action, the man was later pronounced dead. A badly injured 5-month-old girl remains in serious condition at Sick Children's Hospital tonight. Wilson Lee tells us her father has been charged with aggravated assault.
This is a tragic situation. We have a 5-month-old baby girl who's completely helpless.
The 5-month-old baby girl was brought to Sick Kids Hospital Friday night with severe brain damage, 11 broken ribs, and a fractured leg. She remains in serious condition.
She was a cute baby, and she didn't seem nothing wrong with her. And she seemed like she was looked after well.
The baby's father, 25-year-old Jason Parker, was arrested without incident last night in Pickering. He is facing 2 charges of aggravated assault for the alleged abuse. Jason Parker appeared briefly in courtroom 412 here at the Scarborough Courts. His bail hearing was put over until Tuesday. Both the Crown and his defense lawyer declined to comment. A publication ban has been ordered, and the investigation is ongoing. This man, a former landlord, claims he alerted the CAS last August, alleging Parker and his common-law wife were neglecting 2 other children.
Basically, he filed a complaint, or I wouldn't call it a complaint, but a concern that we had about it, and asked them if they could look into it. And that was the last I ever heard about it.
They never called you back, interviewed you, followed up, nothing like that?
No.
The CAS refused to answer any specific questions about this case, citing confidentiality rules. Parker's 2 stepchildren are currently in the custody of the CAS, and his 5-month-old daughter will also be taken into custody once she recovers. But questions remain about how much the CAS knew, when it knew it, and what it could have done to prevent this tragedy. On Charles Street, I'm Wilson Lee for Citypulse Tonight.
A Canada-wide manhunt for 2 men accused of shooting at a Niagara police officer is over tonight. Mache Sitars and Ed Ronsetti were arrested at a marina near Petatangwishing. Sitars was taken down unarmed and undressed in a shower. They're wanted in last week's St. Catharines bank robbery that ended with fleeing suspects shooting at police. OPP and Niagara detectives tracked the pair down last night.
Investigation confirmed that there were 2 male parties on the boat. Identification was made. The Tactical Rescue Unit, our tactical team, they were called in then to effect the arrest.
Sitars and Ronsetti were sped down the 400 in a police convoy into the hands of the Niagara Regional Police this afternoon. Both men facing charges of attempted murder and armed robbery. Another manhunt is over tonight. Police raided this house on Highway 10 near Shelburne and came away with Stephen Hamilton. Hamilton went AWOL from a Toronto halfway house last Sunday. He has an extensive criminal past, including an attempted murder conviction, and has been shot twice by police in the past. Another trip to court for the suspect in a hit-and-run that killed 26-year-old Mary Redden. 18-year-old Benjamin Russell's case was put over until next Monday. Redden died last Wednesday when a stolen car went through a stop sign, struck another vehicle, and mounted the curb, hitting Redden. Russell is charged with criminal negligence causing death. Another horrible case of animal cruelty is being investigated tonight. 3 mutilated, dead cats were discovered in the north end of the city. Tonight, Videographer Dwight Drummond tells us pet owners are being warned not to let their animals outside without supervision.
I mean, how do you feel knowing that this is happening in your neighborhood?
I am very sad because I love animals. And if I tell my daughter, she's going to cry because she has 4 cats in her house.
It was placed about, like, right down here. It was missing its head. Unfortunately, there seems to be 2 other cats that were found in the same area. And
the other 2 cats were found on a front lawn by a woman out for an early morning walk in this Willowdale neighborhood. She says the cats were cut up pretty badly and still bleeding when she found them.
The one cat was missing its head and the body was not located, and the other animal was missing its body with just its head.
Really disturbing find for you?
Yes, it was. I don't think any animal should die like that.
So you don't take your cat out without this leash?
No, never.
I think that some people that owning pets in this particular area should be cautious and keep an eye on them. Particularly cats. I mean, I know it's hard for some owners to not allow their cats to go outside, but if they must go outside, you should keep an eye on them and bring them back inside.
Investigators are now trying to figure out if the person responsible for this incident is the same person responsible for killing the 5 cats that were found earlier. Either way, they'd like to put a stop to it before it happens again. They're asking anyone with information to give them a call at 410-4836. You can also contact your local police division. In Willowdale, Dwight Drummond, Citypulse tonight.
From our assignment watch tonight, it's been a deadly 24 hours on our roads as 3 people are killed in 3 separate accidents. First up tonight, a cyclist is dead after being struck by a truck in the north end of the city. Police tell us a man in his 70s was crossing Lawrence Avenue near Morning Dew on his bicycle when he was struck by a pickup. Emergency crews rushed him to Sunnybrook, where he later died. No names have been released. Police are still investigating this one. Police are also investigating another fatal accident on our roads, this one on the 404 southbound near Major Mackenzie Drive. Officers tell us a Ford Explorer was backing up on the shoulder when the driver lost control and swerved onto the path of an oncoming gravel truck. Another truck also hit the ditch trying to avoid the crash. The driver of the Explorer, a 25-year-old Guelph man, was pronounced dead at the scene. And from the city's north end tonight, an elderly woman is dead after being struck by a van while crossing the street. Police tell us the 84-year-old had just stepped off a bus near Shepherd and Senlac. She was hit when she tried to cross the street in front of the bus. The incident happened around 9:45 this morning. Her name has not been released. The cost of driving is the focus of the CAA this evening as it calls for advance warning of price hikes at the pumps. Last month, gasoline prices jumped by 10 cents a liter in half an hour in Toronto. The CAA wants oil companies forced to give motorists a fighting chance to fill up first and would like to see taxes lowered to boot.
We're currently paying 28 cents per liter for gasoline taxes. Those taxes originally meant for the roads aren't going into the roads, but they do greatly increase the price we pay at the pump.
Imperial Oil says tonight giving advance warning of price hikes would contravene Canada's competition laws. But is it a good idea for the consumer? You tell us tonight.
72.9 for my goal was way too high. I need to know in advance because, like me, I work full-time and I need to be able to, my car takes a lot of gas.
If I know in advance, I would probably get a TTC pass, at least monthly pass, and I can use that. I think that's a good idea, yes.
It's a good idea for the motorists, yes, but it's not good for them.
Of course, I think it's a good idea so everybody knows when to gas up when it's a little bit cheaper. You know, because to me it's just unfair when they raise it to like 62.9, just like that.
Another petroleum product gives a bizarre twist tonight to the probe of alleged tampering with Canadian soldiers' military records. A former platoon commander has been told by the force's top cop that his chronic illness may have come from his own men lacing his coffee with naphtha.
I recognized that the investigation could go on for months and that the health of Warrant Officer Stafford might be impacted by the information we have learned.
I don't believe that's true, not for a heartbeat. My soldiers did a great job over there, and I'm very proud of them. And I had no cowards in my platoon, and that would be a cowardly act.
Stofford says his ailments, including loss of sight in one eye, are likely the result of handling toxic soil in Croatia. And also with national news tonight, the death of an urban legend, former Montreal Mayor Jean Drapeau. He ruled that city for 29 years and may be best remembered for the hugely popular Expo 67. Drapeau was 83. The cause of death has not been given. On our World Watch tonight, a white supremacist charged with shooting 5 people at a Jewish community center tells investigators he also killed a Filipino-American postal worker. The alleged confession by Buford Furrow came after Los Angeles County prosecutors charged him with murder and 5 counts of attempted murder, all filed as hate crimes. During today's court appearance, a smiling Furrow looked at the crowd of reporters and told his public defender, "They all like me." A strong display of dislike tonight for Yugoslav leader Slobodan Milosevic as more Serbs join the Alliance for Change. About 1,000 rallied in support of the effort to push Milosevic out of office and usher in democratic changes. It's the latest in a series of rallies held almost daily in towns and cities across Yugoslavia. An alarming survey tonight on the state of children in Iraq. Young children in central and southern Iraq are dying at more than twice the rate they were before UN trade sanctions took effect at the start of the decade. The UNICEF report stops short of blaming the higher mortality rate on the sanctions, but says they should be designed and implemented in such a way to avoid hurting children. Next stop, New York City, where tonight the Dalai Lama has begun a 16-day visit to the United States. Tibet's exiled spiritual leader blamed a lack of compassion and empathy with our fellow human beings for violence, such as this week's shooting in Los Angeles. His visit is sponsored by the Tibet Center and the Gere Foundation of actor Richard Gere, a longtime supporter of the Dalai Lama and his teachings. And you can explore those very issues on Last Call tonight. Urshad, you'll be talking about accountability in an afterlife.
Yeah, that's right, Ann. Thank you for that. Tonight on Last Call, more spiritual struggle. Columbine High, Atlanta, and now the hate-filled shooting on children in L.A. They all raise the question, is there a heaven and hell? What do you believe? Do you believe? Phone in your judgments at 870-CP24 right after the news only on Channel 24. Back to you, Ann.
All right. Urshad, thank you. Let's check in now with Catherine for an early look at sports. And Catherine, a busy night. What have you got?
You know it, and coming up in sports, Mike Weir in the hunt at the PGA Championship, and the Jays' 4-game winning streak is at an end. That and more, but for now it's over to Glenn for an early look at entertainment. Glenn?
Thank you very much, Catherine. Coming up in entertainment, Warren Beatty and his possible bid for the presidency. Right now it's back over to Ann.
I like that idea, Glenn. Stick around. There's more to come on Citypulse tonight. I'll have your 5-day forecast. And it's raining road construction along Queen Street East. Libby will tell you why that's bad news for merchants on City Biz when we come back.
City Biz is brought to you by your neighborhood Chrysler retailer. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Tonight, the Toronto Olympic Committee unveils its $2.9 billion bid for the 2008 Summer Olympics.
There's $900 million directly in benefits. There's billions more in tourism and dollars spent here.
No site has been chosen. The Docklands are one option. The bid committee figures after spending $2.9 billion to build facilities, pay taxes, and operate the games, they would take in about $3 billion, leaving Toronto with new sports venues and $87 million in cash. Remember the 1976 Montreal Olympic Games? The mayor said they could no more lose money than a man could have a baby. Well, that deficit was in the millions.
It's a much different day. There's monies that flow in from third parties now to help pay the cost.
The IOC isn't going to change Rule 40 in a hurry, and Rule 40 says that the host city has to agree to guarantee to underwrite any debt.
And tonight, the CIBC is putting its real estate holdings on the block. It's a package that includes Commerce Court headquarters at King and Bay and 44 other office, retail, and industrial properties. CIBC is following the lead of Royal Bank, which earlier put its Toronto headquarters and other properties on the market. Finally tonight, not much in the way of sales for merchants along Queen Street East in Leslieville. Streetcar track construction is taking a big chunk out of their business.
Customer, no parking for customer, right? No business.
Well, I'm closed till August or till September because it's sort of hopeless.
Meanwhile, the engineer in charge says this was the fastest and cheapest way to complete the $2 million project. If it had been done in sections as some merchants wanted, he says it would have cost twice as much and taken twice as long. With the ins and outs of money, I'm Libby Znaimer for Citypulse Tonight.
A Canadian is in the hunt after round one of the PGA Championship just outside of Chicago. Here's Catherine with the details.
And what a touching, inspirational story it would have made had Canadian golfer Mike Weir been atop the leaderboard after the first round of the last major this century. He was leading for most of the day until a fearless, runny-nosed little teenager carded a 66, tying the course record. Teens, it's a bad age. Hormones running amok. In a striking canary yellow number, Mike Weir ignored the rain, fired a 4 under 68, along with Jay Haas and J.P. Hayes. They're all two back of this youngster. Here he is, Sergio Garcia, 19 years old, his approach on number 11. Garcia's the leader at 6 under. Afterwards, he called himself a very happy man, then corrected himself and said, very happy kid. No kidding. Shot of the day by Stuart Appleby. In the trees, he can't even see the pin, for Pete's sake. This one curls in for an eagle. That put him at -1. As for Tiger Woods, he's waiting in the weeds. His sand shot on number 14, he finished with a 2 under 70 along with David Duval and Tom Lehman. Our Blue Jays going for the sweep this afternoon in Minnesota, and it was a rookie pitcher who foiled everything. Joe Mays cased the red-hot Carlos Delgado, whose home run streak is over. To the 6th inning, the Twins are up 1-0, and Denny Hawking pops up a sac fly off Pat Henkin. It's Hunter who checks in. 2-0 Twins. Henkin, by the way, falls to 7 and 9. Jays got close in the 7th. Joe Mays loads the bases, no one out. Gets Fletcher to pop out, K's Batista. Then he gets Willie Green to strike out. The rookie gets a shutout. Jays lose 3-0. Thus, Toronto's lead in the AL wildcard race is cut to half a game over idle Boston. Oakland's in town for 3 starting tomorrow night. The Inter-County Leafs at the pits for Game 5 against the Hamilton Cardinals. The series is tied at 2. Tonight, it was all Leafs. Lenny Elias comes up with a triple. And Peter Orr comes around to score. It's 1-0 Toronto. Slide, Lenny, slide. Sean Travers then clears off Elias, and the Leafs are up 2-0. Then it's Damon Toffoli's turn. He cranks out a double. And Jason Corrigal books it home. 3-0 Toronto. They kill him 7-zip to take a 3-2 series lead. Rob Patterson, the winning pitcher. Game 6 Saturday in Hamilton. Well, like a shy grade 9er asking someone to go with them, Blue Jays outfielder Curtis Goodwin left manager Jim Fregosi a scribbled note today saying he didn't feel like he fit in and he's decided to retire. A word from the Toronto Maple Leafs is that centerman Yannick Perreault has signed. Perreault was awarded over $1 million for a 1-year deal by an arbitrator, and so the sour Leafs were apparently shopping him around the league. They're now saying he will indeed be with Toronto in September. Not with the Canucks this September. Those teen twins, Daniel and Henrik Sedin, they're definitely playing another season in Sweden. The 2 and 3 Argos in BC trying to reach the 500 mark. And Andre Kerwin in the first quarter shoves the guy in the striped shirt, and they don't like that very much when you do that. Kerwin got the boot. It's now 7-4 BC. The second quarter just underway. Oh, the Ticats in Montreal. And you're welcome. First quarter, and the Owls' Anthony Calvillo hooks up with Alfonso Browning. It's a 16-yarder. Fans at Molson Stadium going wild. There they are. It's 7-0 Owls. Then in the second, it's Montreal again. Thomas Haskins finds a corner. It's a 9-yard run, and it's 14-3 Montreal. Well, the Ticats get one here, and it's a beauty. Danny McManus the toss to Andrew Grigg, and despite the alouette on his back, he should really have that removed. Makes the catch with one hand, and as pretty as that was, the Ticats still lose it 24-17. Mini-me, you complete me. A ring full of little Brendan Shanahans, all wearing number 14, happily went through their drills at the Detroit Stars hockey camp today. Some NHLers run the camps to teach the youth of this country how to play and love the sport. Shanahan tells us why he runs his camps.
The money, really.
Financially strapped.
I see these kids, and I don't really see the future of hockey. I just see dollar signs and potential earnings, and occasionally I get to know a face, but it's mostly an impersonal sort of, you know.
Of course, we know he's kidding. And 3 Canucks have been awarded wild card entries to the Canadian Open Tennis Tourney starting this Monday up at York U. Martina Niedli, Renata Kolpovic, and Sonia Jayasilan of Toronto are all in.
That should be terrific. I'm looking forward to that.
I love when they have that tourney
Me
up
too.
at York U. It's
And
so
your
great.
Pronunciation was like great.
Oh, it was all wrong, but
no, whatever. Stick around, Glenn. We'll have your entertainment when we come back.
They were all.
And coming up next, Warren Beatty has his eye on the White House and all eyes on Jay Beamer at the top of the Senator.
In entertainment tonight, Warren Beatty for president. Well, Glenn, he's got my vote.
Only in Hollywood, Ann, or is it only in Washington, D.C.? Actor Warren Beatty is actually contemplating running for president of the United States in real life, and that's no bull worth.
Well, Beatty did it in Bulworth, and now he's thinking of doing it for real. The actor-director tells the New York Times he's not impressed with the Democratic nominees and says he might run as a Democrat or possibly on the reform ticket.
Well, you haven't really contributed any money to my campaign, have you?
You know, all the people I've known all the years I've been in politics, I can't tell you how much I admire their willingness to go into public service and how much it's contrasted to my selfish pursuits of show business.
Yo to you.
Later.
I was hoping for sooner.
Life imitating art, as they say. Canada's largest international dance festival, FIDA, or the Fringe Festival of Independent Dance Artists, kicked off their main stage series tonight with What Else? A Party.
We have 25 more choreographers in the festival last year. We have about 15 more sites than we did have last year. And we also have brought in an established artist scenario. Yes, sir.
Local independent jazz artist Jay Beamer beaming tonight as he celebrates the release of his debut CD, Don't Look Back, on stage at the top of the Senator until Sunday.
Kitchener, Ontario native. Well done, Jay. That's it for entertainment.
All right, Glenn, thank you. And stay tuned. I'll have your weather right after this short break. Warmer temperatures as we head into the weekend. We'll be back with your forecast after our Bell Canada weather shot, the eyes of Toronto. Well, Welcome back. If you've lost your umbrella, you'd better buy a new one. You'll need it tomorrow and Saturday at least. Let's take a live look now through one of our eyes cameras as we check out the current conditions. It's 25 degrees in Toronto right now with the wind blowing from the southeast at 7 kilometers per hour. Humidity is 64%. The barometric pressure is 101.3 kilopascals and rising. The mercury got up to 28 degrees in downtown Toronto today. Tonight, we'll be dropping to a low of 18. And now the temperatures for the rest of southern Ontario overnight and tomorrow, starting with tonight's lows. Lows of 15 degrees tonight in Kingston, Peterborough, Ottawa, 12 degrees in North Bay, 14 to 16 in Cottage Country, 18 degrees in Toronto, 18 in Niagara Falls, 20 for London, and a low of 20 for Sarnia and Windsor tonight. Tomorrow's highs up to 30 degrees in Windsor, Sarnia, London, 27 degrees in the Falls, 26 here in Toronto, 25 in Barrie, 18 in North Bay, highs of 22 to 25 degrees tomorrow in eastern Ontario and the nation's capital. And now the 5-day forecast. Skies will cloud up overnight. For tomorrow, expect showers and thunderstorms to develop in the morning with a high of 26 degrees. Similar weather for Saturday. Expect gray skies with showers and thunderstorms developing and a high of 26. Sunday, the showers will end and we'll get some partial clearing. Cloudy with sunny periods for Monday and Tuesday with a high of 26 degrees. And now a final look at our top stories tonight. A man is dead after falling in Lake Ontario tonight, despite desperate efforts by the Marine unit to revive him. A paramedic aboard a police patrol boat managed to temporarily bring back a pulse. The man was later pronounced dead in hospital. An elderly bicyclist is dead tonight after he was struck by a pickup truck. The man in his 70s was riding across Lawrence Avenue near Morning Dew when the accident happened. No names released. Police are continuing their investigation. And the CAA is calling for advance warning of price hikes at the gas pumps. It wants the province to force oil companies to post notices of increases, but Imperial Oil says tonight that would contravene Canada's competition laws. And that's this edition of City Pulse tonight. Watch for updates overnight on the morning shows and on City Pulse at noon. Gordon and I will bring you City Pulse at 6 tomorrow. Last Call with Urshad Manji is coming right up, only on Cable Pulse 24. I'm Em Roskowski. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night.